Hello, and welcome to Smoke and Joe Gamer Holiday Buying Guide 2022, Episode 10, Elden Ring. You see the ring, and then you die, and you die, and you die, and you die! Okay. So, I know I said I was not going to do Elden Ring, but I did. What is this doing? Hang on. It does this. It doesn't... Alright. Sorry if that looks weird. So there's like an anti-cheat system, and I think that kind of screws with it. It doesn't like it when you Alt-Tab out, or you switch between windowed and full screen. It just wants to make sure you're not cheating, I guess. But I play offline anyways. So... Okay. Looks fine. Alright. So, as you can see, yeah, what happened was, when this game came out, I got it on Xbox, I streamed it a bunch of times, got a few views here and there, and some of those videos made it onto YouTube, some did not. But I ended up playing through the game 3 times, got all the achievements. You know, it took me about 2 weeks of steady play to beat the game, and then I had to go back to do that. So on my second and third playthrough, I kind of just ran through, did the mandatory bosses. Now, I'm not on the highest possible settings. I lowered the shadow quality and the volumetric because I know my graphics card doesn't like to do volumetric lighting and shit like that. So hopefully this will stay at 60. It is capped at 60, which is fine, whatever. So yeah, I did play through it 3 times on Xbox. Even if the second and third playthrough I just went through as fast as I could just to get the other endings. Got all the achievements. So, why am I playing this again? Well, so first thing that occurred to me is a lot of games are still on sale. You probably got gift cards and stuff for Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever. So it might still be cool to do a couple more episodes. And this is the first time that the Steam version of this went on sale. And I now have the Steam Deck, so I thought, oh cool, I can play it on PC and the Steam Deck, and then I can decide if I want to sell my Xbox copy or not. I'm not sure. Or I may hang on to that because I don't want to lose my character. But basically, yeah, this is on PC. As you can see, it's 1440p, almost maximum settings. I turned things down just because I didn't want any stuttering while trying to stream it. And so I decided I wanted to revisit it, and I thought, cool, now I can play it on PC and Steam Deck. Steam Deck version runs surprisingly well on high settings. This is 1440p, crazy high settings, and it looks amazing. I gotta tell you, compared to the console version, even running console version on the quality mode, this has further draw distance, less texture pop in. I mean, the foliage and the grass and stuff looks good. But it's the same game, obviously. Same gameplay and everything. But it looks better than the quality setting on console at 1440p, but still hits 60 FPS. Whereas you had to go to performance setting on console, and then that would hurt your graphics a little bit. So right now it's not a steady 60, and it's probably because I'm uploading. If it gets to be a problem, then I'll do something about that. So this is a brand new character that I just started. Well, I mean, I didn't just start, but obviously it's a new version, so I got to start over with a new character. Alright, so this is Kenshi, the blind samurai. And this class starts with the Uchigatana, but I found myself a shield because I'm not really good at two-handing things. Plus, I've got this nifty bow, and I found some other things. Now, what's really cool is that this right here, the Arrow's Reach Talisman, I never found that in the other version. After hundreds, 100 hours of play, there's still things that I missed, and that's so. First, let's talk about what I like about the game. What I like is this massive open world, and they don't really limit you in terms of where you can go and when. That's good. Now, here's the catch. You can go anywhere, but you will get your ass kicked everywhere. So, when you're first starting in Limgrave, this whole starting area, you can do most of this no problem. Now, if you go down here into South Limgrave, you can go to Castle Morn. That's not too hard. And then Stormvale Castle is challenging, but what's cool is there's a path around the castle if you want to get to this part of the game without having to beat that boss. So there are parts where there are skippable bosses. Ultimately, you've got 3 bosses, and you've got to kill 2 of them to progress further into the game at a certain point, right? So if you can't defeat Godric the Grafted, or Godfrey, whatever his name is, then you can try your luck at the Magic Academy. There's a boss there, or you got to go into here to get Rodan, and he can be a pain in the ass. So, as you can see, I've been playing this for about 5 hours now with this character. I've done plenty of exploration here. Another thing is I did not know that there was a Church of Dragon Communion right near the start of the game. I thought there was only the one up this way. So there's already just things that I didn't find on other characters. Yeah, now here's the thing. If you go here to the gate front, there's this whole gate front, Stormgate area. I didn't realize you could go to an area at the top, and that's where I found that arrow talisman that I never knew about. So that was pretty nice. This Murkwater Cave, that's where you find Patches. I hate Patches. He is a recurring From Software character who tends to screw you over. So with my first character, as soon as Patches showed up, I walked into a cave, I open a chest, and I hear this voice. And I was like, oh god, I know that voice. And it was Patches. And I killed him, because I just thought he was going to screw me over. When you get him down to about halfway, he begs for mercy, and with my first character, I just murdered him. I didn't care. And then you bring his bell bearing to the table, to the merchant there, and then you can buy stuff from his inventory, even though he's dead. With this character, I said, fine, I'll let him live. So, of course, I go to open the other chest, and it's a trap. It's a trap! And it teleported me somewhere around here. And so, since I played the game before, I thought, oh, okay, now I can go to Fort Haight, and I can go into the Riverwell to get down there. I thought, okay, cool. So his portal trap spits you out in here near a bunch of giant fucking bears. But you grab one of these waypoints, and then you need to go here anyways to get a piece for the elevator. Now this guy, this Kenneth guy, I never ran into him on my other character. So I did his little quest line, and ultimately he cannot grant me the knighthood that he promised. What a dick, right? But you have to go to Fort Haight if you want to get one of the halves to the thing for the elevator. Otherwise, you've got to go up through the ravine to fight the magma worm. And that's what I mean. Like, there is plenty of freedom here. Like, if you can't figure out how to progress, there could be another way to go. So there are maybe 8 or 10 mandatory bosses, and that's it, though. And there's all these nice little caves and crypts and mines and tunnels that you can go into, and they're all worth doing. They all have their own boss. Each boss drops a unique item. Some are useful, some are not. Then you've also got the Evergale, whatever. When you fight these bosses, they drop items. So there's just so much optional content, but it's all worth doing. Now, one gripe I have with the game is that the late game mandatory bosses are a fucking pain in the ass. Okay? That, like, I really got burned out on this game on my first playthrough, and I had some nasty things to say about it just because some of these bosses that you have to kill are just fucking ridiculous. But this early part of the game, when you're exploring Limgrave, Stormvale Castle, Castle Morn down here, this is the most fun you're going to have. Even though your character is limited in their abilities, even though you don't have good gear, this is the most fun you're going to have in the game. This entire area with the Crimson Rot and the... Of course, there's always a fucking poison swamp in every From Software game. This one has multiple poison swamps. Anyways, this area fucking sucks. Whereas this area, Lunaria of the Lakes, Lunara, whatever, I don't know how to pronounce things. This area is pretty cool, especially the Magic Academy if you're a magic user. My first character was a Faith and Arcane build, so I was using all the Dragon Breath attacks and Crimson Rot and Bleed. But this is a dexterity-based character, as you can see. And I bought one spell just because I actually have the stats to use it. So they're at level 28. Now, what's really cool about Castle Morn is that if you played Dark Souls 3, it was in that game. But the names are the same, but it's not really the same thing. So, so this is Arena. Remember the blind girl? You gave her the Braille spell books in Dark Souls 3. And then you could get the Morn's armor. So here you go. They decided to actually let you go to Castle Morn, although I don't think it's the same Castle Morn. Okay. So, another quest line I had never discovered before was there's a guy who gets turned into a tree. So, right in the one of the beginning areas, right around here, you're walking along, and you hear a voice talking to you. It turns out you've got to attack a tree to turn him back into his normal form. And his name is Bach. And I never found him on my first character. But what happens is once you find him, then he goes to the coastal cave, which I guess I did not fully explore with my other character. And you get this sewing needle, and you can use it to alter your garments, but you give it to him, and there's a whole quest line. So it's good to find things I didn't discover before. There's just so much stuff in this game. You're not going to find it all in one playthrough. Not unless you have, like, Google in front of you. So that's what I like about the game. There's just a huge open world. They let you explore it any way you want, although be warned that you could stumble into an area with really high-level enemies who will kick your ass. One gripe I have is I always felt like the enemies do a little too much damage and the player doesn't quite have enough health. Like, in the late game with the best armor in the game, or one of the better armor sets, I did find that I was still getting one-shotted. There were enemies whacking me for 1,200 damage in one hit, and I found that to be a little ridiculous. As my starting bonus, I picked Fanged Imp Ashes because there's no other way to get this item, and they're very helpful in a lot of fights. Anyone who's played Dark Souls, or Demon Souls, or Bloodborne, combat is pretty much the same. Dodge, block, regular attack, strong attack. They retained the weapon skills and the FP bar from 3, so you have different weapon skills you can use. You can two-hand weapons, so that's fine. But as an added bonus, you now have this, like, riposte attack. Which I can't demonstrate because it won't attack me. And of course you have bleed damage, poison damage, and now for added fun there's a new thing called Crimson Rot. There's also Frostbite. And then you have this other thing that will insta-kill you if it gets too high, similar to the curse and other things in other games. So there, you have a riposte attack if you block, and then immediately hit strong attack afterwards. You can counter. Very useful. And then in this game also, you can hold your heavy attack, and you can stagger enemies, and then the game will show you where their weak point is for extra damage. So now most enemies aren't that hard to kill, like they go down in a couple hits and thus they don't drop that many runes. Conversely, you have very large enemies with a lot of health who can one-shot you, and they tend to drop more souls. But most enemies in the game fall into two categories. Enemies who are easy to kill but don't drop enough souls to really even be worth it. I call them souls even though they're runes. Same fucking thing. Flask of Crimson Tears. It's an Estus flask. Come on, we all know that. Anyways, yeah, so that's just what I find kind of annoying. You have weak enemies that are easy to kill but don't drop enough runes to really be worth fighting. And then you've got very, very strong enemies who it's very time-consuming to fight them, and they still don't drop enough souls to be worth it. So now, of course, the game is not perfect. It still retains some of the flaws of their other titles. I mean, this is pretty much, you know, Demon's Souls 8 at this point, right? So there are still times where the game gets a little glitchy. They added a jump button, which is nice. They added a map, finally, which is nice, and a compass. So, you know, definitely some quality of life improvements over their previous titles. But also retains some of the same wonky physics glitches. Sometimes getting hit through walls, your weapon getting stuck on things. You get backed into a corner, and the camera gets stuck in your person, and you can't see anything, and you die. A lot of platforming-related deaths, although you can fall much further without dying than in those other games. And you have all these different weapon skills that come from the Ashes of War, as you can see. You now have some basic item crafting, so instead of buying fire pots, you just make them, which is cool. And the grease enhances weapons temporarily, and then I got all these different types of arrows I can make. So that's pretty cool. Of course, the game has co-op, which is great, but it also has the same stupid fucking PvP invasion system that's full of fucking trolls who use cheap tactics to screw you over. But luckily, you can easily just switch into offline mode and not have to deal with that shit. But, you know, why the fuck can't you engage in co-op without opening yourself up to invasions? Who knows? At this point, you know, back in Demon's Souls and Dark Souls 1, I thought for sure it had to be an oversight. It's like, what is this invasion crap? Why can't I just play with other people? What the hell? But it's clearly at this point it is not an oversight. It's exactly what they want the game to be. Lord knows why, but what are you going to do? Ultimately, I like the combat. There is a good flow and a good rhythm to it. Oh, what the fuck is this shit? Ban. You are banned. Okay, sorry about that, folks. If you're watching on YouTube, you have no idea what just happened. But I got one of those stupid spam messages saying, we can promote your channel for you. No, you can't. You're a fucking con artist. Banned. Anyways. So, this game offers a lot more content than the Souls game, so Personally, I still think I really like Dark Souls Remastered. Obviously, it's the definitive version of an already awesome game with better graphics and frame rate. Um, and I still like Dark Souls 2. I was playing that earlier this year. And what you notice, though, is you get to Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3 and Sekiro, and you notice that the animations become much more intricate and complex. And from an artistic standpoint, that's great, but from a gameplay perspective, in some cases, they make it damn near impossible to tell when and where enemy attacks are going to land because the animations are so complex. And that's just something that happens in this game, too. There's times when I have a real hard time trying to parry or dodge anything because they're just flailing around in these ridiculous attack animations. So you do have to be careful there. But at least you have shields in this game. Bloodborne didn't have shields. And then Sekiro tried to force parrying, and I'm not good at parrying. So this game, you can use a shield, you can dodge, whatever. So it retains the versatility of Dark Souls. And I also feel like you have a little more freedom in your character builds, and there's an easy way to respec. After you clear the academy and defeat the boss there, you get what's called larval tears. And you spend larval tears and you can completely redo all your specs, which is good. Because remember, this is just what I was kind of talking about. Enemies that jump around a lot and mess with your targeting system and go through you and flail around. I hate that shit. So, but honestly, you can just totally get lost in this game. If you wanted to, you could completely ignore the main story, ignore all the bosses, just focus on exploration. Oh, and they give you a mount, and the mount can double jump. So, definitely some major quality of life improvements over their previous titles, while retaining some of the same things that can be annoying or challenging or unfair. So there are times where the game is absolutely unfair. Like, there's things in this game where it's like, wow, like, they would never have put that in Dark Souls, you know what I mean? Like, things that you would previously think were off limits or too unfair to do to a player, they're all in this game. With new status conditions and shit like that. You don't have to repair your weapons, though, which is nice. Yeah, I think they got rid of weapon durability. Which, I mean, I think that's a good thing. Morn Tunnel, okay. Yes, I know this. Oh yeah, and just like all of their other games, anytime you're riding an elevator, pay attention because you can usually jump off early to get to an extra passage. So that's nice. So I am going to try to do more in Castle during this session here. Oh, and plus you can sneak around and you can absolutely play this as a stealth like ninja game. I can go two-handed with my sword. I can try to insta-kill them from behind. And that's a weapon skill that uses FP. Oh, and of course you can still block while two-handed, but as you can see, this only has 45% physical damage reduction. So this character, I'm not using spells at all. I'm just trying to do just a dexterity-based build with plenty of stamina. I want to be able to use a bow and arrow as my ranged attack. Oops. Wow. I am getting murdered right now. Yeah, so This is what happens when I switch to two-handed. I get hit a lot more because I can't dodge very well. But you can easily switch back and forth. Yeah, and then sometimes enemies sucker punch you like that. They have attack animations that have barely any startup. So yeah, you will get sucker punched, you will get one-shotted. Some enemies have these unblockable grapple moves that have to be dodged, but good luck dodging them. So this game absolutely has everything you love and hate about From Software titles. But I'll tell you, it's a gorgeous game. The only problem with those poison pots is that they poison me too, so I gotta be careful. Yeah, I don't like these demi-human guys. They flail around a lot. But anytime there's like a tunnel or a mine, you always want to go in there because that's where you're going to find a large number of crafting materials. Thankfully, they simplified the crafting and upgrading in this game. You just have to pick up different... Actually, it's a similar system to what they did in Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3. You have regular smithing stones, somber smithing stones, and they just put a number next to it to tell you what level it is. And some weapons can be upgraded pretty far, too. Like, I had a broadsword on my first character that eventually went up to, like, plus 25 or something. And then think of the somber smithing stones as being like the twinkling titanite. So. Oh, and the reason I never collected my stuff from my previous death is it was only like 100 or something. 100 or 200 runes, didn't matter. Now, I'm level 28, but as you can see, I already need 5,200 runes to level up. So it does seem like you level up a bit slower. But it's just imperative that you fight all the bosses, even the optional ones, because they give a lot of... Well, the optional bosses don't give as many souls, but you know what I mean? Even a boss you don't have to fight, you may still want to get those runes. And then New Game Plus is actually pretty easy because you retain all your stuff, and there are bosses that you can easily take out without struggling too hard. Okay, so I absolutely forget what boss this is. But let's just grab a bunch of stuff here. Gotta be one of the elite demi-human guys, or it's that giant golden troll. Oh no, it's just this bozo. Okay. Scaly Misbegotten. Oh yeah, see, he's got a big axe. Oh yeah, see, look, these bosses typically don't have as much health, and they obviously, as a result, they do not drop as much stuff. So that was easy. Alright. So I always wondered what would happen if I cleared this out before doing Castle Morn. Like, I don't think there's a way to save Irina. But I'm just going to go back down because, remember, there was that platform that I didn't visit. So this will happen. There are bosses that really aren't that hard to kill, don't give that many souls, but he still dropped a unique item that you're not going to get anywhere else. So, still absolutely worth doing. Ah, crap. Alright, I didn't die. But I missed the jumping off point. Nope. There. So as you can see, you can fall further without taking damage, but at the same time, it's kind of just... It's kind of set up where either you, like... It's kind of weird how the fall damage works, is what I'm trying to say. I'm not really sure what words I want to use, but most falls, this happens, you don't take any damage, and then there's a range in which you will take damage but won't die, but then there's certain heights where you just die. So, alright. I'm just going to go back up the elevator. And then there is an Ashes of War that will let you, that just says no skill. That will let you remove the skill from like a shield or a torch, and that way you can still use your regular weapon skill, which I prefer over any kind of parrying. So. Wait a tick. What did I just see? Why do I keep thinking that I saw somewhere else I could go. Hang on. Yeah, but I was just... Wasn't I just in here? Yeah, okay. That's what I thought. Alright, you know what? I just want to get the fuck out of here. I just want to get the fuck out of here. Alright. I get confused in these games sometimes. Okay. Alright, so I would like to go there. Point number 2. I think you must have got a critical hit on that first one. Okay. So, nope, don't want to go that way. And instead of finding those, you know, like, those different souls, oh, look who it is. Okay, so this guy only shows up at, Knight's Cavalry is a recurring boss that shows up in certain spots, but only at night. Oops. Missed. So there's a really annoying enemy called the Rune Sentinel, or Tree Sentinel, and he fucking sucks. This is a variant of that, who's a little bit easier to kill, but will still kick your ass. And if you kill the horse, he will summon a new one. But see how I'm getting all that bleed build up even on a successful block. So sometimes you really are better off just trying to block everything. Or better, you're better off dodging in many instances. And you can do a jump attack, but, you know, good luck getting it to hit. Yeah, so this guy likes it. I guess the horse can't bleed, or I just have to hit it more? I don't know. Yeah. So there's a bunch of Night Riders throughout the game. Only shows up at night usually. Or maybe it's still early morning, I don't know. And then there's another recurring boss called the Deathbird. And they like to show up at night in certain spots. And they're awful. So... Alright, and then you got these merchants spread throughout the game. And in the original version of the game, before any patches and stuff, they didn't sell smithing stones. And you need to buy cracked pots. So the number of, like, whatchamacallit, number of, like, fire bombs and stuff you can carry, it's dependent on how many cracked pots you have. And as you can see, there's a maximum of 20. I don't think I found all 20. So even though I have enough to level up, I would rather buy a couple of items off of this dude. So there goes all my money. Yeah. What can I sell you? Nothing. Yeah, I like to just keep one copy of every item here. That might be useful later. Oh, and I do have a couple of those. Okay. Yeah, and these give you the same number of runes whether you use them or sell them. So, just so you know. Now, you do have to go to an actual, like, smithy to upgrade your stuff. You can add additional charges to your flask and increase the amount, but you need to find the right items. And then, I can alter my garments, so in the altered form, this offers more protection, but it's also heavier. Alright, cool. Yep, just frame rate is dipping a little bit, not sure why, but oh well. And anytime you see one of these stones, that's where you'll find a map. And as you can see, they do show up on the map. Now, of course, you cannot look at your map while you're being attacked. So, which I guess makes sense. And you also can't fast travel. Now, in this game, you can fast travel from anywhere to anywhere else. You don't have to go to a bonfire. So fast traveling has changed throughout different From Software games. And then, and in this game, of course, you can level up at any checkpoint. Yeah, see, these guys are actually pretty easy to kill. Well, some of them are. The trick is to stagger them, but there's a part in the game where there's one of those guys who has probably 100,000 hit points and only drops 3,000 runes if you can somehow kill him. So that sort of thing happens a lot. The points of grace, they're bonfires. Come on, we all know that. We all know that they're bonfires. Nothing in here. Okay. He's dead. All right. Yeah, I just like to make stuff sometimes. Alright. Now, anytime you see one of these statues, if you activate it, then you can summon other players to help you. But that's only if you're playing online, and I don't like to play online. Yeah, that was silly of me. Yeah, but this is what these guys do. You can see how enemies will sometimes stagger their hits. I am now poisoned. So are they. That was awfully silly of me, huh? That was silly of me. Alright. Let's try that again. This time, don't poison yourself. I wanted to round them all up and poison them and then just run away and let them die, but apparently that was not in the cards. Alright. That could still be useful. Alright. I've heard some people say that this class is easy mode, and it's like, yeah, you start with a katana and good armor, good stats. Only problem is, you gotta, you know. I meant to use that pickled herring thing or whatever the hell it is. Oh well. Too late now. Yeah, these are the same dogs. Every one of their games has those same fucking dogs, and they're so annoying. So yeah, some of these same annoying enemies from their other games, they're in this game too. So, you know, possibly some reused assets from other games, but whatever. Hold still. Ow. I did not see that coming. Jesus Christ. Goddamn dogs. Do your job, you stupid imp. Fanged imp, do your job. Pull aggro. Alright. Yeah, and then when you see health bars depleting in the background, that means enemies are fighting each other. So there is a battle going on between the humans and the demi-humans. Basically, the demi-humans were slaves, basically, and they revolted. But you do meet a few of them, I think, that are not quite so bad. So this pumpkin head guy, he's, these guys can be a pain. So I'm just gonna poison him. I missed. Sometimes he drops his helmet, and there's a bunch of those guys throughout the game, which is fine. Unfortunately, there's really no way to get health back other than the flasks. And so here's your risk versus reward. It's like, okay, I can go all the way back to my last, checkpoint and get all my health back and all my healing items back, but then I have to refight all those enemies. Who wants to do that? And I don't have enough runes for a stat point anyways, so it's fine. Now I happen to know where the checkpoint is, but I can't quite get to it yet. I was afraid of that. Touch it, touch it. Excellent. Only problem is now I can't get back up there without teleporting out. But I can still go down here and explore the rest of this place. Yeah, there's no other way to get back up there. At least I don't think so. Yeah, because you can't use your spectral steed. So you can't just jump here, see? Can't do it. Alright. Yeah, you don't have to do things in order, though. There's a guy that you can talk to, but you don't need to talk to him yet. Oh. Well, that could have gone south, huh? I think there's a bunch of rats in here. Right. So you abuse them, and then they put you in a cage, and all you can care about is, oh, what a disgrace to die in this way. It's noble to be killed by these peasants. Gee, I wonder why they didn't like you. Yeah, so this is a dungeon. It's not a very big one, but it's not the size of, Stormvale Castle, for instance, but you do have these larger dungeons. Now, the boss at the end of this, see, you can actually see in the distance in this version, there's more draw distance, so the guy that I fight on that island there, you get an achievement for beating him, but also he drops a special weapon that you need for another achievement. So, definitely want to... Oh, see, he heard me. So, what time is it? It is just after 11. All right. So, should you buy Elden Ring? Well, it's been out since February. It won multiple Game of the Year awards, I think. If you like Dark Souls, you'll like this too. If you don't like Dark Souls, then there's still plenty to like here. Like, if you're a fan of, let's say, Breath of the Wild, The Witcher 3, you might still have some fun with this game. But ultimately, it's going to appeal most to fans of Dark Souls and other Souls-like games and other From Software games. Right now, it's on sale on Steam for 40-something bucks. That's worth it to me. Full price is $60. But I mean, it's worth getting on any platform. It's obviously going to run better on Series X, PS5, high-end PC. I'm not sure that I would recommend it for the base PS4 or Xbox One models. I don't think that's a good idea. As you can see, the PC version runs just fine on a mid-range desktop. You don't need a 3080 Ti or anything like that. So yeah, if you can get it on sale for 30 or 40 bucks, go for it, definitely. If you're into open world action RPGs. This game can be brutally difficult. I'll tell you that on the first character that I made, the game was a lot of fun when I was just wandering around aimlessly, going into crypts, going into the smaller dungeons, fighting optional bosses that aren't so damn hard. Where I ran into a problem is that once I decided that I wanted to beat the game, and I started focusing on the mandatory bosses, that's when I started to get frustrated, because those bosses are fucking difficult. I played this game 80 hours over the course of 2 weeks, and I definitely felt burnt out afterwards, and maybe that's my own fault for just playing it too much. And that type of shit happens all the time. You can go from full health to dead faster than you can blink. If you're not fully aware of your surroundings, if you pull aggro from another enemy that you didn't think you were going to pull aggro from, that sort of thing. And in typical Souls-like fashion, if I die again before recovering my stuff, it's gone forever. So I do not like that gameplay mechanic, and it's used quite often in modern games now. I do not like permanent loss of progress. To me, that's just bullshit, but what are you gonna do? Sometimes enemies can hurt each other, other times they can't. It's kind of random. What's over here? Oh, neato. Ooh, somber smithing stone, that's hopeful. These jellyfish will not attack unless you attack them first. And anytime you see crabs anywhere, if you go to attack a smaller crab, there's a good chance that a giant crab will pop up out of the ground. So you may want to just leave them alone. But the thing is, the reason I'm not attacking them is because they don't really give you that many runes anyways. So pick your battles, you know, and all that. I don't want to fall in the water there. Now, you can summon help here, but I'm not seeing the thing, so... Alright, so... I must have, like, missed a quest or something. I must have missed, like, a... Yeah, I must have missed something, because sometimes there's a guy you can summon here. Guess not. Or maybe... Nope. Alright. Leonin Misbegotten. This dude is crazy. Yeah, this guy actually isn't that hard, but he does flail around a lot. See, and he hit me once, and look how much health he took away. Alright, so that wasn't hard. Alright. So, he gives you the Grafted Blade Greatsword, and you get an achievement for beating him. And you get a bunch of runes, more than you'd get from, like, regular enemies. I can't remember if there's an item over here. But I mean, but look at this art direction, these graphics and stuff. You know. there's definitely a higher level of detail in the PC version, although as I understand it, there was some major issues on the PC version at launch, but it looks to me like they've been ironed out for the most part. But he only hit me once, and you saw how much damage he did, even with a decent armor set. So my goal is always to wear the heaviest stuff I can while staying in medium load, because in heavy load, it's really hard to dodge stuff. And similar to a trend that started in Bloodborne, some enemies have these ridiculous combos that are pretty much guaranteed to break your block and kill you. Like, there are enemies in this game that have like 8 or 9 hit combos, and you can't really interrupt them either, so you do have to be mindful of that. Okay, so this is considered the Weeping Peninsula. Got it. So now let me go back to the lift, because I gotta go talk to an NPC for the quest line, but as with the other episodes in my ongoing holiday buying guide, the goal here is just to give you, play the game long enough so you can see what it's all about, and give myself enough time to talk about all the bullet points. I mean, if you want to be a spellcaster, you can. Like I said, you can respec anytime, so you're given plenty of freedom in how you want to build your character, but you're also giving plenty of opportunities to change things just by finding the larval tiers. There may be a finite amount of those in each playthrough, though, so something to be mindful of. Can't believe this is actually working. So there is stealth in this game, huh? How about that? Yeah, I only got 61 runes for killing that guy. So honestly, you really got to pick your battles in this game. Yeah, I mean, later in the game there are some good farming spots. The game, obviously, it facilitates farming by letting you just keep reusing checkpoints to make enemies respawn. Dang it. Of course, as you can see, I was targeting the wrong enemy, so my riposte did not work. So obviously I don't want to jump down there again. I'm collecting these smoldering butterflies because they're used for any type of like fire recipe in this game. What's back here? Anything? Nope. Yeah, I like the level design in this game more so than Bloodborne or Dark Souls 3. I mean, I like Dark Souls 2 because it's linear, because there's a logical progression going from one area to the next. You always know where you're supposed to go. You just keep going forward, and if there's a dead end, it means maybe there's another path you can take somewhere else. But I could see how some people would be upset by the linearity of that game. This game just throws you right into the frying pan with no direction and just cryptic hints from various NPCs, although I think they added more stuff in later patches. I think they added more NPCs and gave them more useful dialogue.
I met you, so you can see how things at the menial, they gave me good service, or so I thought. Foul creatures, as it said. I'm sorry, but whatever you come here to do, take this. I see, thank you, but I can't, even if the cat's ensure that I'm in your debt for keeping the sun no longer unsafe. Rescued Arena, I will.
Okay.
Thanks to you, and devote my Rowena as my only hope. Thanks to you, and devote my Rowena as my only hope.
Okay, so this time I went into that cave first. I did everything I was supposed to do as part of his quest line already, so as you can see, I got all of his dialogue, and now he's going to go find Arena because I gave him the letter and all that, which is great. So let's teleport out of here. Yeah, it's 11:30 already. On the East Coast here. I have plans for New Year's Eve. Don't know if I'm going to stream again tomorrow, or Friday, or Sunday. Who knows? I got family in town, so, you know, might be making plans and stuff. Oh, yeah, it's great when they fight each other. Yeah, there's parts in the game where you'll see two different factions like fighting each other, and if you just stand nearby, you'll just collect souls without having to do anything. Right, hang on. Where is Irina? Alright. I don't think there's a way to save her.
Arena, how could this blind daughter deserve better for life? I chose duty over my... Oh, the foul red. I'll hunt them down and rest assured. Oh, the foul. I'll hunt them down.
Alright, so I'm going to have to look up what the rest of this quest line is because... So first off, no matter what I do, she dies. Anytime I've played through this game. I don't know if there's a way to prevent her death, and I don't know where the quest goes from here. So, whatever. Alright. So at this point, I'm going to give myself another stat point and call it a night. But as you can see, that was just one location in this whole area, so you can see there's other... plenty of other ground to cover. The only thing is I wish they did what like Fallout and Elder Scrolls do. I wish they would tell you when you already cleared one of these caves. That would be nice. Oh, actually, I'm gonna go here. So the Table of Lost Grace is similar to like the Nexus and the main Firelink shrines and all that. But you don't have to go here. Like, you go here to upgrade some of your items and stuff, but that's about it. Yes. Okay, so.
Well, I took you no matter how your own.
Let's see what we got. Alright. Gonna upgrade my katana. Gonna upgrade my bow. Yeah, I don't have any other weapons I want to use right now. 26 strength to use this. Yes, some of the strength-based weapons have very high strength requirements. Oh, I can almost use this. Cool. I totally want to use that. All right. And then you can use this to assign different Ashes of War, but they do affect your stats. Unfortunately, bleed-based skills will boost your... They have an arcane parameter bonus, reducing dexterity. So even though I would get more bleed buildup, I would be doing less damage, and I don't intend to put any points into arcane anyways. Now, I don't know what triggers it, but at one point I teleported into here and an NPC invader had set up some kind of alternate dimension or something, and I had to kill them before I could proceed. And if you jump over that balcony, there's this stupid witch with a scythe and frost spells who may kick your ass if you don't have the right build or if you're just not good at fighting her. What do we got here? I'll just use these now. Good. So, how much dexterity did I need? 24? Bam. So with this character, I do want to try and use items that I've never used before. Okay, I can't attack anybody here. There is a dual wielding system, but it's weird. You have to equip two very similar weapons, I think. Hang on. Alright. Where do I want to go? I wanted to try and avoid Stormvale Castle, at least for the time being. Alright. So I think I'm going to go over there. But I just want to see... I can't remember how the dual wielding works in this game. Oh, there you go. So sometimes what will happen is... if you equip two very similar weapons, then you can kind of do this cool, like, dual wielding thing. But if I press L2... see, it's just going to use the weapon skill for my main weapon. Yeah. So when I press L1, I get that dual attack. Okay. So it's like, whatever. No big deal. I'm still in medium load, though, which is nice. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay. I like that. Who says Kenshi can't use other weapons? He doesn't have to use a katana. So there you have it. There's Elden Ring. So this is level 30, 7 hours of playtime on this character so far. And now you know how to clear out Castle Morn and do that whole side quest there. Although there may be different ways to do it, I don't think there's a way to keep her alive, though, and I don't remember where he goes next. Alright, so, thanks for watching. Have a good night. Hope you had a good holiday. Have a happy new year. Hopefully, if you've been keeping up with the videos, maybe you have a better idea of what you want to spend your gift cards and holiday cash on. So, all right. See ya. Good night.